And hello to you joining us for season 2, episode 2 of A Measure of Marketing with our first guest.
Yes, exciting with Pippa Tanko. I'm excited to talk to her. She's been in business for some time and she'll have some crazy ups and down stories, I am sure, to share with us as marketing has developed over time. So I'm excited to hear what she's been doing, the challenges she's faced, and how things are going for her.
Yeah, me too. Be good to hear her journey. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Hello, Pippa. Welcome to A Measure of Marketing.
Hey, Hayley, thanks so much for having me.
Oh, it's great to have you here. Please tell us and those listening a little bit about you, a little bit about your business and Pip and how you help your customers.
Sure. So my name's Pippa Tanko and I'm from And Pip, and we help customers tell their story in a visual way. So we're visual storytellers, and that can be anything a business might need to show to tell their story. So it could be using mediums like photography, it could be using the written word, or it could be things like video, where we combine the two together.
Okay.
So when did you start, Pippa? What was your birth date in business?
So my birth date in business was in 2004.
Oh,
Wow.
Time ago now. And I started my business alongside a job where I was a photographer.
Yeah.
So I was actually in a very different business to the business I am today, because while I was doing photography, I was doing business to consumer because I was mostly a family and baby photographer.
Okay.
So that was how many years ago was that? A long time ago now, right? Over 20, about 22 years now.
Yeah.
So my business has changed an awful lot. And I did dip in and out of it as well, where I initially.
Okay.
But yeah, that's where I started out.
Amazing. So your your audience has changed over time, obviously the setup of your business, which means that your marketing would have radically changed.
Radically changed because I was business to consumer and now I'm business to business. And that messaging is very, very different.
For sure. So what did it look like back then in 2004? Oh my gosh, I can't even remember which social channels were around back then. What we've got now. What did you do marketing wise back then when you first got started?
Yeah, to be honest, there were no social channels yet. So can you believe it? A business where there was no socials. So we relied heavily on marketing our business through word of mouth,
Yeah.
print. So printing ads and magazines were really big.
Yeah.
I think Google was around, but I couldn't afford it or even knew how to use it at that point. So
Okay.
yeah, it was very different. So I was doing a lot of networking and kind of trying to put myself in the circles where I might find my audience.
Yeah. So what we call very traditional
Exactly,
traditional
traditional marketing, right?
Yeah.
Because we didn't have all those other avenues that we have today.
Yeah. And how did you find that then? I guess the skill, the knowing of what to do back then versus now. And I guess we live in such an information heavy world, don't we?
Mm.
What did that feel like back then?
I mean, to be honest, it was very hit and miss. I was lucky enough to go to a school where we actually learned how to run a business at school.
Yeah.
So I knew I had to pay tax. I knew I had to do my financials. We did things like stock taking, but we never focused on marketing because I ran a business in an all-girls school where I sold pancakes to an audience that was ready to buy every single day because we were at boarding school and there were no snacks. So I didn't really need to market. I just needed to pop my little stall up and make pancakes and the crowds would come. And then I got into the real world where I now had to actually market my business. So what I thought to myself was, right, where are the people that I am looking for hanging out? What magazines are they reading? What venues are they going to? So I was doing lots of flyer drops at venues and putting ads in magazines and just trying to get under their skin and understand more about them, because there were families essentially that I was targeting.
Yeah. And what did networking, I mean, this is very going to turn into a very nostalgic conversation now, but what did network look like back then?
Well, networking for me, I was very young. I'd just come to a foreign country where I didn't know anybody, and I felt very different. I felt very awkward in my own skin, which sounds crazy given that I talk to everyone today and am totally confident. But I remember going to networking, and there was a networking group that I belonged to, and every time it was my turn to speak, I wanted to cry because I was so uncomfortable
I still feel
speaking
like
up.
that now.
Yeah, it's not still a thing. It's fine.
But because felt so uncomfortable and like I didn't really know what I was doing, because I knew how to take photos, but I didn't know how to attract the right clients. And that's something that's been done through trial and error. And everything in my career has been self-taught. I've never had any formal training as a photographer,
Yeah.
but I grew up in a family of photographers. So it's been in my life since I was tiny.
So then marketing wise, are you self-taught from that perspective as well? Like you've just moved literally into the different eras, and is that
Absolutely. So I'm predominantly self-taught. I've got help along the way. So I have invested in myself and my business, not from a hiring people perspective, from a self-education perspective.
what does that look like then? What kind of things have you done?
So I mostly invest in coaches who might have a specific skill that I lack. Like I invested heavily in sales coaching so that I knew how to sell.
Yeah.
I guess more from the marketing side, it's been very much a trial and error. And let's see what's working and do more of that. And let's see what's not working and cut that out. But I think what I've learned along the journey is that you can't do everything. You can't do all the marketing channels. As a one-man band or a small business, I think you have to build one and find that it's working and then keep doing that. And then you can perhaps outsource and then move on to another one. But for me as a single person business, it's been very much a right, let me try this thing. Okay, this is working kind of, let me try this other thing. And I have a mastermind of creatives, high functioning creatives that I work with. And we talked about marketing recently. And what was really interesting that every single one of us, and I think there were about 6 or 8 on the call, were all using different marketing channels.
Yeah.
None of us were using the same. So some of us might have been using cold outreach. Some of us might have been using email marketing, cold email marketing. Some of us were using warmer email marketing where we were using lead magnets and things and then nurturing. Some were using social media. But I think the common thread through all of that was the personal touch. And people weren't just reaching out blindly to hundreds of people, for example, that were doing the cold email. They were actually researching the people they were emailing. They were making it quite personalized. And I think that's what's changed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like over the years, I guess, because you've been in business for so long as well, that actually the lesson for those that are new to business is spending that time and really understanding your audience, isn't it, there, and the problems that they're facing and the solution that you tick off for them to move.
100%. We call this niching, and everybody hears the word niching and they want to run for the hills because you think that means that you won't get business and you're cutting off a huge chunk of the market. But actually, when it comes to a marketing perspective, from what I've seen in business, it's been very much about just making sure you really understand your perfect client, your ideal client. You know what they're thinking, what their pain points are, what their problems are, what they're aspiring to, what outcomes they're looking to achieve. And it actually doesn't scare away any, because there might be other businesses that experience those similar things. But what it does is help you really understand who you're trying to attract and speak directly to them. So your marketing is speaking to them. It's not a one size fits all because everybody has different problems. But it's not to say that you are cutting out any of the other market, because those things might resonate with other audiences too.
How did you get to that point then of understanding your audience? I guess it's like I guess some people will be like, yeah, I know that, but like how do I do that
Process.
Yeah.
Do you know, it's so hard. You just have to pick one. Put your big girl pants on and pick one. I swear, I've done it, been through this niching thing time and time again, where I've pivoted within my niche, within my audiences, and it's so difficult to choose one. And I think that's where most small businesses struggle. It's like, how do I choose? But I always think of one specific client that I've worked with who has felt really easy to work with, someone that I've loved working with, that paid me what I wanted to earn, that has seen me as the expert. And then I've decided, right, that is going to be the niche. And you do one niche with one offer for 1 year, and then you reevaluate. Is that the right niche for me? Am I winning in this niche? And if not, then it's time to pivot. Because I
Yeah.
think that's the other problem, is you think you choose this niche, or you choose this ICP, which is ideal customer profile, and you think, God, this is it forever, but it's
Yeah.
not. You can
No.
change it at any point if it's not working. And I think a lot of the businesses who don't succeed don't change quick enough.
Yeah,
I'd
definitely.
agree
And the
with
flip
that.
of the coin, is they change too often. They don't give it a
Yeah.
good go. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was you going to say something, Hayley?
Yeah. Yeah. As in, I've seen it with small business owners, typically the one person band, where they'll start off and they'll go for kind of like 3, 4 years doing the same thing. And that's where they get stuck. And they don't realize that they haven't necessarily listened to the information or the reaction to their audience quickly enough, but long enough. And I think it's finding that sweet spot between, like, it's like from putting out a campaign and only doing it for a month versus 3 months, to niching for a year but not 2 years. It's finding that sweet spot, to knowing enough and then having the confidence to change it and to do something different in line with what you've learned. So hats off to you for doing that in the
I
right
mean, to be
way.
honest, it wasn't plain sailing. I've been in niches where I've been stuck for 3 or 4 years, and it feels like you put so much into understanding this ICP and learning what their pain points and problems are, and you invest all this time and energy into getting your messaging right, and your story right to fit that audience, and understanding their outcomes, and then it's not working. And it's very hard to think, oh God, I have to go back to day dot again and start with a
Yeah.
new one. But it's never really starting again, because there are
No.
things that you've learned along the way that you take with you when you pivot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I
That's the
guess
right way of doing it.
it's the marketing channels as well, isn't it? Like, you think you spent a year, the marketing channels, yeah, they change, they do develop, don't they, over time, but the core of it, like how to use Instagram, how to use LinkedIn, that skill just keeps moving and moving, and then you learn the skill on how to message and like all of that over that course of that year, isn't it, as well? It's
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. You learn what the different channels are and how they're most effective, and then you just take that new ICP and plug that into what you now know.
So what does marketing look like for you now? Like, what do you like do? Like, what do you see work well? What challenges do you kind of face now?
Sure. So I think for me, I'm always going to use social media as a platform, because
Yeah.
I love it, first of all, and I'm a huge believer in doing things that you love, because it just becomes a chore otherwise. So, um, I think I'll always use social media. And I believe that people need to see you and get to know, like, and trust you. It's the core of most of my messaging, um, as a visual branding expert. And so what I do now is I put out content usually 3 times a week. Um, I love doing video. So for me, that looks like doing a day of video a month that I then have the next probably couple of months worth of content on the video side. I
Yeah.
write every week. So I like to write on a Monday. It's one of my get my shit done on a Monday tasks. And I keep a bank of kind of ideas that I can always draw from. But I don't think just using content is enough for me personally. So I'm very into building relationships, and that might be through messaging, and so that I can reach more people. It might look like going to networking meetings because you can build connection much easier face to face. And so I think that's really, I use LinkedIn a lot. I use LinkedIn as I feel LinkedIn should be used, is to really network
Yeah.
and build a network. So that's what my current marketing looks like.
Yeah.
In terms of what's working, I think it's really difficult to know, like, what is my goal here? What am I trying to achieve? You know, because the minute you go into LinkedIn and start messaging people and people think, oh, she's trying to sell me something, is the minute that they're like, no, thanks. You know, so what I guess I'm trying to do is just get my ideas into the world, look for opportunity in that way. So I'm not necessarily trying to sell my product or services, but myself.
Yeah.
And a lot of businesses find that very difficult to do because I'm trying to get people to know, like, and trust me enough to think, she's really cool. I'd actually love to work with her. She makes a lot of sense. She's a bit of me, because I feel like it's just as important to attract those people that are like you as it is to repel the people that are not right for you.
Yeah. Oh, I like that she's a bit of me. That's such a, yeah, that's such a nice term.
And what I find incredible is I can look at a photo of someone and think, she looks like a bit of me. I'd love to chat to her, you know, which I find so interesting from a brand photography perspective, because some of them I'll be like, oh God, she is not me at all. She's not my type of person. And sometimes I get on a call with them or I get chatting to them and I've completely misjudged it, right? I've got it wrong. She's not what I thought she would be at all.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse. And I think for me, the biggest challenge when it comes to that is when you're trying to get your ideas into the world and you get people that are just trying to sell back to you, or they're not interested in hearing from you. And so I get a lot of no's, but I actually collect no's.
Nice.
That sounds really weird, but like, if I'm failing, I'm much closer to succeeding, right? If I'm failing, I'm learning from what's not working and I'm changing it, and then I'm getting better at succeeding. So I think that's probably the last month I've been collecting a lot of no's in different ways. And so I'm trying to not let that put me in this mindset of, oh, I'm terrible, because I think that's one of the biggest challenges we have as small business owners. Oh, I'm not good enough. That imposter syndrome creeps back in. Nobody wants to, and when you're putting yourself on the line and your personal brand on the line, it's even harder because it feels like rejection for you as a person.
Yeah, I get that. I think that like I try and switch my head where I'm like, everyone's learning this, right? Like everyone's learning how to DM and build relationships online, and everyone's trying to build their communication skills. So you can only do like your very best, stay like within your authentic self. And it might not even be you, it might be them, like their perception. So that's where you have to really cheerlead yourself, and content in DMing, relationship building, networking is just do your very best. And you feel like happy with your approach, like this is my natural self here.
Absolutely. And I believe in a pull mentality rather than a push mentality, right? That's very important to me.
LinkedIn, I use that phrase.
Because I don't want to be pushing people to, it doesn't work, first of all. Pushing doesn't work. And so when things are quiet, business is quiet, I'm struggling, I'm worried about where the next project is coming from. Staying in that positive pull mentality can be very challenging. Excuse me. But I just keep doing the things I know that work. So that's why I have a very strict schedule. I write on Mondays. I post content 3 times a week. I keep DMing people. I keep collecting no's. Those are the things I do when I'm struggling to get business and just trying to still come from that place of pull rather
Sure.
than push.
Pull and patience pays off, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. That's such a good approach as well, to like it's the mindset part of it as well, not just the action part. That's really valuable.
I think for me, mindset is the thing I struggle with the most, but it's the thing I pay the most attention to.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's easy to put those actions in place, isn't it? And post with intention, like message people with intention rather than going into fear mode. And
Exactly. And I think it shows. I think it shows when you're in that fear mode and you're thinking, I'm just going to post for the sake of posting, then people
Something's
can
wrong.
they can smell the pull
Yeah.
or the push, I should say.
Yeah.
They can smell that you're not, this isn't genuine, this isn't how you're feeling, this isn't real for you. And I think it's also really important to share that and share the journey too, And I don't know that it's necessary to share the journey when you're in the middle of it, but definitely when you're out the other side.
Yeah, so you've got the little learning at the end of it at the same time. That's such a
fun.
like it's so great to hear your journey as well, from the start and what it looked like to how it's changed. And I guess like your mentality has changed over time, like your energy would have changed and to your approach.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd swiveled from or pivoted from being a family and baby photographer. So I did dip out. I went and I actually got headhunted to go and manage all the photography for Harrods for 3 years in the middle of that. Then I had my own kids and I came back to families and babies because I was very much in that family and baby phase. But then as my kids started to grow and I started to think about what actually I enjoyed doing more, it was taking the knowledge that I had from working on fashion brands through Harrods and thinking, how can I apply that knowledge to the sector I'd really like to work in, which is more business to business. And so that was a massive pivot for me. And I think I'm an all in, and I think I've said this to you before, I'm an all in or all out kind of person. So I literally got rid of all the baby stuff, stopped marketing the baby stuff, built a new website, started a new channel, and just cracked on. And I think there's something to be said for just going all in on something and having that self-belief.
Yeah, otherwise you've got a foot in the back door, haven't you? And then you're not quite opening the other door and you're just in this like weird place in the middle, aren't you?
Well,
And
I think also from a marketing perspective, when I was in the family and babies, I knew I could market to families and babies till the cows come home with my eyes closed. I'd built that business and it was successful, but it wasn't giving me joy anymore.
Yeah.
So what I found was that if I had not done the clean break, I would have just kept going back to what was easy.
yeah.
And I never would have pushed the change that I wanted to happen. And I'm so glad I did because my cup is so much fuller now. I'm doing something that I love. And I loved it when I was in that family and baby phase, don't get me wrong. But my kids got older. They started to become more self-sufficient. And I was still felt like I was trapped in this baby, in this, toddler phase. And other things I needed it to suit my lifestyle more. A lot of family and baby photography happens on the weekends. Well, the weekends I want to be with my family and my kids, so there were some practical reasons towards the pivot too. But I felt like I had this wealth of knowledge that I'd gained from managing all the photography at Harrods that I wasn't using. as a family and
Mm.
baby photographer. And so that's where I decided to make the move and went all in. And it felt hard. You know, I was building from ground zero. I was learning from the basics again. I was creating a new ICP and getting it wrong too,
Yeah.
you know.
Mm.
But slowly over time, I've kept pushing through and I've pivoted through different ICPs, and now I am where I am now.
Yeah, I think it's definitely you don't feel, like you say, you don't feel it at the time, do you? But once you go through the like the struggle days mentality, and then the kind of starting from scratch to some degree. I've done a little similar in the last few years, as in like, this isn't the way that I want to work, and actually I'm going to have to reposition myself now. It's quite empowering when you kind of in it as well. It's like that discovery. I'd prefer to be in that discovery phase with understanding my audience and marketing and like that test and learn mentality, rather than it being boring and you being far too comfortable from a period of time anyway. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of instinct that comes with marketing as well, and trust in your gut. And like you said, Pippa, about, posting for the sake of it, your gut knows when you're posting for the sake of it, and you get that sicky feeling and you think, no, I'm not posting this, or I'm going to delete it, or this wasn't right. And I think it's the same when you don't necessarily know you're doing something well until the point where you look back and go, oh, I did that well. But you certainly know the point where you know it's not right for you. And I had a similar feeling probably about a month ago. The way I was marketing, what I was doing, how I changed it up wasn't right for me. And I felt it in my gut. And I think you don't teach this. It's not in the marketing handbooks or on any kind of course, but there is this gut feeling that you have to listen to know this isn't right. And I have to change it up, or I have to do something about it. Or the data isn't going to necessarily give you that feeling either.
I 100% agree, but I also think that sometimes you have to do things that make you uncomfortable. So I think this is a very different thing, right? We talk about this a lot, like sharing images of yourself can be hugely uncomfortable for small business owners. Talking on video can be hugely uncomfortable for small business owners, but it doesn't get comfortable until you've gone through the discomfort. And so I think there's a difference between what you were saying, Hayley, and that. So I just wanted to clarify for the audience. There's a difference to doing that thing and then not feeling like it brings you joy, and deciding like you've got through the fear, you've got over that hurdle of it being uncomfortable to it becoming comfortable, but just boring, or it doesn't feel aligned.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's part of the journey, isn't it, as well, and the learning from it. Yeah.
That was such a good conversation, Pippa. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I feel
Thank you, Pippa.
Yeah, it's such a great just a great all-rounder really for other business owners to hear what you've done and facing change and being solo as well for that length of time. I think we often think that you have to grow this team or this agency or this, but you can stay solo and really enjoy it and take control of that and build and grow like you have as well. And
again, I think it's just aligning it with what you want, right? Because I've heard of other small business owners where they've decided they're going to grow a massive team and they invest in all these things and realize it's not actually what they wanted. And so I think staying true to what you want and remembering what your goal is, what you're looking to achieve. I want to be present as a mum for my kids. That is very much built in. I believe in building a lifestyle business. And so that is very important to me. So my business has stayed small so that I could do that.
Yeah.
And that was very important to me as a value, as a person. I always remember when I worked at Harrods. Harrods, it's quite cutthroat in the fashion industry. And I remember someone saying to me, and I was young, I was in my 20s, someone said to me, if you could be anything, what would you be? And I said, I'd be a mum. And they were like, you are not made for the fashion industry. And they were right. They were right. But I found how I can balance my two passions, being a really great mum and also being a business owner that's thriving and can support her family.
Brilliant. So it should be, yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us, Pippa. We've really enjoyed that conversation. It was great to hear your journey, and also just how I think my favorite part is when you was like, just focus on the one thing. Like, let's not try and do all of this, because we see that so often, and that's the bit where your confidence just drops because you can't juggle and you're not doing anything really that great, and that's probably the worst place to be, I think. Just focusing on one and doing it really well and getting that confidence, and then slowly building if you feel you're ready to do that, is probably one of the key points, I think. Yeah.
Great. Brilliant.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It was lovely to chat to you both.
You're welcome. And thank you
too
for listening. And we've got loads of other episodes coming up for solo entrepreneurs and small businesses. Small business owners are going to be joining us on this season. So we'll have way more people like Pippa, and lots of new stories and angles and things like that for you to dip into. So thank you for listening, everybody.